Right, welcome everybody to this quick video, which is to introduce you to how we are using Teams to replace some of the things that you have been doing on Mosaic. The goal of this for both trainees and mentors is to make the side of things, which is using that platform, as simple and clear as possible. And we really think that this is going to be really clear for everybody and really simple for the rest of your course this year. So you will only need to be in 2 teams. There's lots of teams here, but that's just because I'm logged in. The only ones that you will need, if you're secondary, a trainee or mentor, you'll be added to this team. And if you are primary, you'll be added to this team, the primary cohort. I'll just go in and show you the primary cohort there, but they look the same for both. If you open this team where you've been sent a link and added to it, you will have the files. And this is basically the resource share. What we'll put in here is all the resources that either a trainee or a mentor might need from the central team. All the policies, handbooks, calendars, mentor blasts, trainee weekly bulletins, which go out every Thursday, recordings of the training days for you to watch back afterwards, and all the training day resources. If I go into training day resources, if it will let me open that, you will see that all of your, we'll go into the secondary one, just to show you that it's exactly the same. You've got exactly the same kind of information, the weekly training resources when we go in module 1 or module 2, and you will see there all of the training days, and you can go in and access resources that were shared on that training day. And both trainees and mentors now have access to all of those things. So that is a resource share that you can all go in to get everything that you might need. The only other team that you will be in is your individual portfolio. And this is, if I go into this example trainee, each trainee has got their own folder, which looks like this. And when you go into this, for trainees who used it for module 1 or module 2 so far, it will look very familiar. The first 5 folders here are your module evidence, and that is where at the end of each module you upload the evidence which is listed on your module that we then check as a central team to make sure you're on track. That's the evidence that you are assessed against, that shows you can meet the teacher standards at the end of the course, that shows that you are on track. And you're just using those folders to upload that evidence. A mentor will be able to go in and see that evidence and review it themselves, and you as a trainee can go and upload that evidence there. There's a couple of new things that you will notice though, and I stress only a couple. They're not big changes here, but they are going to replace lots of the functionality you had through Mosaic. The first is you now have a lesson observation folder, and this folder is designed for you to put your lesson observations that you previously uploaded on Mosaic. When you go into that folder, you'll see there is a Word document which tells you exactly what you should be uploading there and where. So there can't be any miscommunication between different people saying slightly different things. That document tells you exactly what to put in that folder, how and where. You will in that folder want to create folders of your own. Don't just start putting in loads of kind of single Word documents, for example, but how you organize that folder structure is up to you, because whether you're early years or whether you're teaching lots of A-level classes, you've all got very different timetables. So think about, is it going to be your year 12 class have got a folder, or are you going to be, it's the year 2 tutors topic, or is it going to be your second placement Key Stage 3 lesson plans? It doesn't matter what folder structure you use, but you are going to want to put some structure in there to organise your lesson observations. There's 3 other documents down the bottom. One is a subject audit for secondary that you will have seen before and be familiar with. Primary, there's a slightly different approach to that, so don't worry if you don't see that in there. So we'll focus on these 2 documents here. One is your targets, mentor meeting and observation tracker. And this is a brand new document, but it's designed to replace quite a bit of the functionality that you had in Mosaic. And it is also designed to be very user-friendly. 2 points about this. 1, do not download it and fill it in. Keep it as a live document in this team and fill it in via Teams. 2, do it in your mentor meeting every week or every fortnight if you're part-time. Do not do this as a separate thing. Make it part of your mentor meeting. That's part of managing the well-being of this. So open that document up. Imagining I'm in my mentor meeting now. I'm sat down with my mentor and you're filling this in together. And what you can see here is it just takes you through very straightforwardly some things that you want to be doing in your mentor meeting. So the first thing is you'd confirm, yes, your mentor meeting has taken place. Then you'll type in what date it is, and then put in a summary of what are the key things you talked about in the mentor meeting. And you can see, do this in the meeting. It's not doing it later. It's your responsibility to fill out as a trainee, but you are doing it while the meeting is happening. In this, you've got an example at the top in these pink boxes of how much you should write, what kind of thing you might put in that box. You're then putting in a couple of details here about how many lessons you've taught this week, when did you have your formal observation, what class or year was it? And then you've got a couple of things that are a little bit different at the end about targets. So we've got 3 boxes here about your targets. And you'll notice it says key target, just one target. As a trainee, you get feedback, tweaks, advice in so many different ways. 5 to 1, lesson observations, your own reflections, conversations with staff around you. You're constantly thinking, how can I do this better? How can I do this better? What can I improve? What can I tweak? And you're getting that feedback all the time. You might have 20 thoughts in a week that are about how you could make something better. What we want to do is think about how we actually learn to be better at something, and that is by being able to be really precise about what you're working on. So when part of your mentor meeting is to talk about all of that feedback, you can see the guidance at the top here, review all feedback, and think, what one target do you think is the priority for you for the next week or two to really secure an improvement in your practice? So you're going through all of those and thinking, right, what's the key thing for me to work on? You want it to link to the ITT ECF. So put the letter and the number, the number and the letter at the end, just to cross-reference it from the ITT ECF. But you're bringing together that big, massive reflection that you're doing and thinking, what's the one thing that I'm going to work on? Put that single key target in there, agree it. You're doing this in the mentor meeting, remember. And in the first mentor meeting, you obviously won't fill in these 2 boxes because these are the review boxes. But the next mentor meeting, when you agree a new target, you also want to go back to last week's target and think, right, did you achieve it or not? If you achieved it, you can fill in this box and say, yes, I've done that. And you can type in there, what's your evidence? How do you know you've done that? How have you agreed with your mentor that you met that? So you might put the date in and say, yes, I've achieved this target. But it's likely that you won't achieve a target in a week or 2 weeks. So what you might do there is put, what's the evidence of the progress you've made against that? You might say you haven't met it yet, but you're working towards it, and just put some notes in there about what you have done. And again, you can see some examples at the top there of what that kind of comment might look like. So this document replaces lots of elements of Mosaic, and it will be checked by the central team to make sure that it's being filled in and filled in correctly, and that the quality of what you're putting in here is key. But the key things are, don't download it, it's a live document, fill it in on Teams, and do it in your mentor meeting with your mentor each week. The final document to have a look at in this folder is your module evidence overview. We've given you a checklist for all 5 modules for the whole year of what the evidence is going to look like that you will collect. And this is for full-time trainees. Part-time trainees, you will only have your evidence for year 1 of the programme at this point. But full-time trainees, if I open this document, you will see here that you have got listed every piece of evidence that you will need to put in the folders for the whole year. And you can see we've chunked down module 3 a little bit. So it's actually got these green subheadings in now, which, so for example, lesson plans, you've got 3 lesson plans you need to upload. Resources, you've got 1 type of resource to upload. Student work, you've got 1. Lesson feedback, you've got 4. Written tasks, you've got 3. They're usually done on training days, those written tasks. This checklist now tells you every single piece of evidence specified that you will upload for the whole year. There's a little extra bit here about additional evidence. Don't worry about that yet, because that's about your final portfolio, where we will ask you to find 8 extra things that you're really proud of and talk to us about those at the very end of the course. So you don't need to worry about that. What you do need to think about is that you've now got this checklist for the whole year showing which things go in each module. And you might want to be looking back as well and thinking, if you've got gaps, you will need to be filling those in. So for example, I don't think anybody will have not completed their prevent training, so that's maybe a bad example to have there. But if, for example, you were not able to do your focus formal observation about retrieval practice in module 1, and you do that later in the course, you want to make sure that you go back and actually fill that gap later in the course. But this is your checklist for the whole year of all the evidence that you need to upload. And that's it. What you've got there is, this is what you're uploading, what you are recording, what we are checking, your evidence folder. And the other team that you've got access to is where you're downloading, where we're sharing resources with you that you might want to use. And those two are now forming the core of what you're doing, the core of the way that you're sharing information with us and with you. And we hope we've put lots of work in there to trying to make that as clear and simple as possible for all trainees and mentors to be able to have as the simplest way of collecting your evidence, uploading your evidence, and accessing the materials and resources you need. I hope that helps, and we will look forward to seeing your evidence start to come in there in module 3.